Creamer Media's Engineering News and Mining Weekly is interviewing Oliver Beck, the Global Head Solutions of Siemens Large Drives. And with us too is Tim Walwyn, the country CEO of Siemens Large Drives in South Africa. Oliver Beck is on a visit to South Africa to highlight Siemens' solutions for mining and sustainability advances. So we'll start off with you, Tim. Can you give us an idea of the products and key products and services that you offer into our market here?
Yes, Siemens has been part of the mining ecosystem in South Africa almost from the very start. You'll find Siemens power generation solutions and mechanical electrical equipment in some of the earliest mining activities in the country. And we've really grown and continued to be a part of that industry as technologies evolved, as we've moved through the second, third, fourth industrial revolution. We're really trying to continue to support the industry with technology from a global leader like Siemens, but adapted for local conditions, engineered locally for the requirements of the industry. So we really bring everything from heavy rotating equipment, electrical drive systems, power distribution, moving through up the levels into automation, process control, and optimization of mining processes. And what we're really excited about now is the scope of digital services and solutions that we can offer to the mining industry. So that spans everything from advanced analytics, condition monitoring, optimization of management processes within the mines, management information systems that allow operators to get end-to-end visibility of everything that's happening in their operation from the pit to the port and throughout the entire life cycle. So starting in the early design and concepting phases, moving right through to operations, modernization, maintenance of those operations.
And how is Siemens driving the sustainability concept and putting it into its strategy and portfolio?
Yes, that's a good question also from my side, Martin. Thanks very much for having us today. Really excited to be here after this week of very exciting customer meetings and discussions with customers. So thanks very much, first of all, for having us here. Regarding your question, how are we driving sustainability in our business? And maybe to answer that question first, I would say from our product portfolio, and Tim just gave a quite extensive and comprehensive overview of that. In the product portfolio, in our solutions portfolio, the sustainability part is, I would say, already inherent. Yeah. So, for example, if we're talking about electrical motors, frequency converters, all of those are built and made for having energy efficient production, energy efficient operations. Yeah. So, from that side, I would say it's already in our DNA. But of course, we on the other side need to make another step, an additional step, to get it also out to the customers, to develop solutions that are really driving sustainability. And just to give two examples from that perspective. One, in the mining business, you probably are aware also of our electrical propulsion system for mining trucks. Yeah, so it's in mining trucks where often it's the typical still diesel propulsion we are developing and providing to the market diesel electric propulsion systems, which are then, of course, having a much better fuel efficiency and reduce the burn rate of mining trucks. So that's, for example, a topic where we are driving sustainability. And on the other side, we just launched a new segment in our organization regarding hydrogen production, because also this really important part of, let's say, the circularity and how we can drive sustainability in the market. And there we really want to, together with customers, together with partners in the market, go into the area of hydrogen production, green hydrogen production, in order to make this energy transition that everybody is also envisioning and having as a vision go forward.
Have you come here with specific objectives, and how have you managed to meet them if you have?
Well, I would say the first of my objective was to learn about the South African mining market. What drives the South African mining market? What are the challenges, and where can we then, as an answer, help? And I think this objective, for my personal opinion, I have met, because we have had many interactions, very great discussions with customers, where we really got that feeling, okay, where are the challenges, where are the topics that are driven forward by our customers, where they want to look at us as well, in order to support them in driving that, and also where we can get the right input to adopt our solutions and adopt our, let's say, roadmap going forward.
And for both of you, how would you describe the way Siemens is actually meeting these dynamics and the challenging business environment that is sweeping the world at the moment?
I think maybe to start with a local perspective, we're obviously sitting here in 2022 dealing with all sorts of supply chain challenges and disruptions in terms of the sort of macroeconomic situation and geopolitics in the world at the moment. We haven't had time to breathe since the COVID pandemic, sort of the worst impacts of that left us. And so I think the one thing that we're seeing is constant need for adaptation, flexibility. People talk about sustainability, and I think one of the key aspects of sustainability is the ability to sustain operations in changing conditions. So one of the things we saw emerge very strongly in the early period of COVID was the ability of digital technologies to help companies to be able to operate in a different way than they had done before, to sustain remote control of operations where before they'd had people sitting at the coalface. They really had to step back and be able to use technology to access information, to make decisions remotely. And so that digitalization aspect, we think, is enabling organizations to respond to changes much more dynamically, with much better information at their fingertips to make decisions in short cycles, which is, I think, something that we're going to see is here with us to stay. If you just look at the rate at which we keep getting hit with new challenges and coming from all directions and all parts of the business ecosystem, I just don't think that's going to change. And we've seen the South African and African customers really reaching out to us and asking, how can you help us? What can we do here? How do we adopt this technology? And so that's been really interesting to see that it's almost a leapfrog effect, I would say, in terms of technology adaptation in the last few years.
I would maybe add from a global perspective, and I think Tim had given the main points also, what has happened here locally, also globally. I mean, from my perspective, it was really in phases that the first crisis came with COVID. And when we thought, okay, COVID is over, then all of a sudden there was a supply chain crisis globally, which is still on. And on top of that, now also a lot of geopolitical disruptions that don't make business easier. And I think as we went on, and we're still on in this perfect storm somehow, where everything is turned upside down. But I think also, as you say, there were, as we went along, a lot of solutions to each and every of these steps. For example, during COVID, all of a sudden, remote working was possible. Remote commissioning of our equipment was possible. Asset health review from remote as well, in order to guide also operators to do, for example, the right steps to keep their plant operational. So from that perspective, the first hurdle was taken. Then all of a sudden, the second hurdle was coming up, the supply chain crisis. And there, from my perspective, from Siemens Large Drives, we have quite a large production setup footprint across the globe. So it's not only in one place, it's in many places also where we are building our components and our factories. And that made us quite resilient also during that time, because maybe there was at one time a shutdown in a country due to COVID, or there was no supply available at that time. And therefore we could, from my perspective, balance it out. And not saying that we didn't have a lot of challenges, and we still have. And from my perspective, we are still in this perfect storm. But so far, we could, both for our customers, our partners, and us, we could, I think, limit the challenges and the negative impacts from that perspective.
And finally, Oliver, you've been in this country for a week. What have been your impressions, and what will be your main takeaways?
It was a really exciting week, and I have to say I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity. Tim and I, we visited many customers and partners, had a lot of really interesting discussions. As I mentioned, to reach also that objective to understand how the market is going and how the market trends are developing here. What I can say, South Africa is a super dynamic and super fast-moving market. That's my impression. There are a lot of customers that really are in the development of the mining industry, adopting new technologies, early adopters in the area, trying new ideas, trying new ways out here in South Africa, and then also exporting it, bringing it to other operations around the world where they have seen this is working. So from my perspective, here really the market and the mining economy is at the forefront, at the leading edge of this business. And this is really, really cool. Really cool to see and experience and also be part of that. Yeah, and also that's partly the reason why we have such a strong setup here in South Africa as well with Tim and his team. Yeah, we have one of our digital hubs globally that we have specifically for that reason set up here as well, where the colleagues are driving our digital transformation for the customers, with the customers. And so I can only say really productive, really exciting and valuable week here in South Africa.
That was Creamer Media's Engineering News and Mining Weekly, speaking to Oliver Beck, the Global Head Solutions of Siemens Large Drives, and Tim Walwyn, the Country CEO of Siemens Large Drives in South Africa.